Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen. Today we are making chicken mole. This is a very special dish in Mexican cuisine, and we're making a quick and easy version of it using a pre-made condiment that you can purchase in many grocery stores across the US and online. Mole is a rich, sweet, spicy sauce made from dried chilies, spices, nuts, seeds, and chocolate. It goes really well with chicken and pork. I prefer it with chicken, so that's how we're making it today. I'm going to start by cooking the chicken. I'm using a whole chicken that I cut up. I prefer using all leg quarters for this dish, but my grocery store was out of leg quarters, so I purchased a 6-pound whole chicken. I removed the majority of the fat, but I am leaving some of the skin and bones. This will give the broth flavor. To the pot, I'm adding the chicken, half of a white onion, garlic cloves, peppercorn, and salt. I don't want to overseason this because we are using this broth for the sauce and the rice I'll be making as a side. I'm going to bring this to a boil. As it's cooking, this foam will appear at the top. I'm going to remove these impurities so that we can have a nice clean broth. Cooking and shredding the chicken is the majority of the work in this recipe, but I believe it's one of the most important components. I want the chicken to be tender, and I'll be using the broth to reconstitute the mole paste to make the sauce. Once the chicken is cooked, I'm going to transfer it to a large dish so it cools down. That way I can shred it. Typically, these pieces are added to the sauce whole, but I prefer to shred them. That way we're not picking through bones and skins while we're enjoying our meal. I like to shred it in large pieces like this. Next, I'm going to strain the broth to remove any leftover skins, onion, garlic, and peppercorns. I'm using Mole Dona Maria. The jar is a little tricky to open. You have to be gentle with the lid and only lift at these 3 points right here. I use one of these bottle openers and it comes right off. There are other brands out there, but this is the one I prefer. It's the one I grew up eating and tastes very similar to the one my family used to make when they would make it from scratch. I'm going to pour this into a bowl. I'm using a stainless steel bowl since this paste can stain. I have stained several plastic bowls in the past, so now I just use something I can easily clean. I'm going to add 1 cup of the chicken broth to start to dissolve the paste. As it dissolves, you can add more to remove all the lumps. You can use a blender for this as well. I'm just used to doing it this way. It doesn't take long with a whisk to get a smooth consistency. I'm going to add another ½ cup since it's getting pretty thick for me to whisk. I'll be adding more broth later as the sauce is simmering. I'm going to add this to my pot on medium heat along with 2 more cups of the chicken broth and begin to simmer it. I I love the sweet chocolatey flavor this mole has, so I'm going to accentuate those flavors by adding a whole tablet of this Mexican hot chocolate mix. This hot chocolate mix is delicious on a cold rainy day, but today we're going to crumble it and put it in our sauce. This has chocolate, sugar, salt, cinnamon, and some other flavors and spices that this type of mole has, so it goes really well with it. It's a little tough, so just be careful with the knife. You can always grate it with a box grater too. This stuff smells so good. I can smell the cinnamon and the chocolate. Okay, I'm going to add this to the sauce and whisk it so it dissolves. I like my mole a little spicy, so I'm adding some cayenne pepper. This recipe is pretty simple. These are all items that you can have in your pantry, and it comes together pretty quick once your chicken is cooked. I'm going to cover it and simmer it for a few minutes so that the sauce thickens up. I tasted it and it was perfect. The amount of salt I added to the broth was enough, so I didn't need to add any more salt. I'm going to add the chicken now. I'm going to cover it back up and simmer it on low for about 10 minutes, just enough time to make our rice. I'm making a simple Mexican style rice. I'm adding some light olive oil to a large pan on medium-high heat. Once the oil is hot, I added 3 cups of white rice. I'm going to toast this rice until it's a light golden brown color. This will give the rice a nutty flavor. Once the rice is toasted, I'm adding some diced white onion. Once the onion is translucent, I'm going to add the tomato sauce that I blended. This is just 3 fresh Roma tomatoes, a small piece of onion, 2 large garlic cloves, salt, and a cup of chicken broth. I'm also adding 3 cups of the chicken broth to complete the liquid that I need for this amount of rice. To flavor the rice, I'm going to add some cumin, tomato bouillon, and a little bit more salt. Once it starts to simmer, I'm adding a handful of fresh cilantro, and I'm going to cover it and cook it on medium-low for about 10 minutes. The mole is bubbling. That looks so good. I'm going to stir it gently so I don't break up the shredded chicken too much. I don't need to add any more broth. I'm going to leave it uncovered and simmer it for 5 more minutes so that the mole thickens up just a little more. Okay, it's been about 10 to 12 minutes. The rice is done. I'm going to turn off the heat, mix it a little, and cover it back up so it continues to steam. We are having our mole with some fresh corn tortillas. You can have this with flour tortillas or tortilla chips if you prefer. Today I felt like some fresh homemade corn tortillas, so that's what I'm making. I served it with the rice. I'm adding some sesame seeds on top. This mole is delicious. It is sweet, savory, and spicy. The sauce is thick and rich. If you've never tried mole, I recommend it. It's a very special dish that has great depth of flavor, and using the Dona Maria pre-made paste makes it so easy to make on a weeknight for dinner. The recipe will be in the description box below. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more delicious recipes.